I also want to remind those who are tuned in that you're tuned into the One Mic Show, and I'm your co-host and producer Ali Badawi. We're here talking to Kia Simmons, a South Carolinian living in Nairobi, and she's telling us about why she chose Kenya over more than 50 other African countries. Her company, Traverse Culture, you can find it at tverse.com. That's spelled TVERZE.com. It helps Americans relocate, live, and invest in Kenya. Our lines, of course, are open. Number to call 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. So feel free to call in. We're about to call it wraps. We know we've made Kia wake up very early in the morning in Nairobi.
I don't think she slept.
Ametoka kubanjuka.
I don't think she slept. I think she went for a luta.
Yeah.
She looks like she was at a luta.
Na bado
okay.
inaendelea.
Okay.
Mpaka
Okay.
che.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
she's going back for ugali.
Okay. She
With
she
soy
said,
sauce.
Yep.
Yeah. So here, as we wrap up, maybe tell us what are some or maybe unique cultural adjustments that you had to make or African Americans have to make when they're moving to Kenya, and how can Kenyans create a more welcoming space for them? Kia.
The biggest thing is just understanding the business culture. When you're here, bribing it is a thing. It is a thing.
Call it facilitation.
Brown envelope.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that for the private sector and both. Well, no, private sector, because I've never, now on record, I've never been asked by the government for a dime, never. And so what I've seen is more like your private sector people, wanting to be paid for facilitating something. So that's something to get used to, as well as just understanding when you speak, you sound like a Mzungu, even though you look like them. You sound like a Mzungu, and you're probably going to get charged the highest price. Probably going to be tried. They're going to try you. But once you start learning like words in Swahili, like hapana, and you say it right, you can kind of get away with some things. And I'm being a bit facetious, but really just learning the culture, and then just being aware, socially aware of everything, I think will help you. And then connecting with people you trust in Kenya. And what I'll say to Kenyans is just continue to be Kenyans. I mean, this is your environment. I don't want you to change up who you are. And Kenyans are very hospitable, so that's not an issue. It's just really learning their culture and being able to emerge in the culture as it is.
And speaking of learning, I guess adjusting to that, Pablo over here is asking, has Wakesho taken Swahili or Luo lessons? I think your name should be Kia Wakesho Akinyi Simmons.
Yeah, and to add on to Pablo's question,
that's actually my name.
Yeah, yeah. So to add on to Pablo's question is, and this is just me saying, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel, and I think this is generally Americans, not just African Americans. There's always this tendency to feel like we don't need to ever learn any other language, and this is including people who plan to go settle in those countries. I know there was an initiative back in the 70s in the US to try to teach to teach Swahili and to have that as the language of communication.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, I don't know how that quite ended, but I think there's that's something. There's a certain American arrogance that I've noticed when it comes to learning the language, where someone plans to go settle in another country, but mentally they don't plan and they don't feel the need to learn the language that's spoken there in that country.
But bro, haven't you had Karen say you need to learn how to speak American?
But that's right. So that's right. So that's where I want to talk to Kia and just ask: is this sentiment also there within the black community? Is the issue that maybe it's just very difficult for Americans to learn a foreign language, or is it just an American arrogance that's there of feeling that I'm going to this country and I'm even going to have my child, I'm still going to be speaking to my child there in English. I'm not going to make them learn any other language. Kia.
Yes, a little bit of both. It's the arrogance and it being a little hard. I should know more Swahili. I know Swahili kidogo, and I've been coming in now for 13 years. But it's the arrogance that and I will say you get spoiled because you guys speak English. Yeah. So it's like I can just speak English and get away. But no, to your point, moving here, you should make an effort to learn Kiswahili. It's the national language, but I do think it's a bit of both arrogance and it being a bit hard.
Okay, all right. That's good. Is there any other comments on YouTube?
No, yeah. But I think there's something that she had mentioned, and I wanted to bring up, and maybe I think Mika alluded to it, about the diaspora and blacks. And so I was watching Roland Martin, and he was talking and addressing the issue of so many shows, black shows, being cancelled, and part of the reason being cancelled because they are the show, but they're not in the business. So ideally, they don't own the platform in which, you can have a very good show. But if your show is on Omoshe's network or whatever it is, you cannot dictate to Omosh what to do. But if the show is on your network or whatever,
if you don't own the production line, you don't own it.
You don't own it.
Yeah.
And I think, we've talked about really owning our own stuff or creating our own platforms, because there's a way we generate a lot of money for others, but not for us and not for ourselves. When you hear talk of the dollar within a certain community circulating back what, like 90 cents, maybe only 10 cents goes out, but like in the black community, in Kenyan included, it's the opposite. 10% is circulating here, 90 is going to someone else. And I think this is prevalent very much in the Kenyan community, because we really do shoot ourselves in the foot. We really do. We do ourselves wrong.
When you look at fields we dominate, like athletics, for example.
Yes,
the athletes go there and win the gold medals. But when you look at the production process, there's a lot of white people.
Yes,
like agents. When it comes to like where people are getting their shoe deals from, where people are getting. So the whole process where a majority of the money is. We're not out there. It's even surprising that Eliud Kipchoge actually has a black coach. It's sometimes perplexing to see, like Kenyan marathon runners, we've mastered this art for decades, but you would still see Kenyan marathon runners with white coaches. I'm not a marathon runner myself, but it's just something that perplexes me. We are the ones who've mastered this art. Where are these white coaches coming from? So that's why I'm glad when we have a goat like Eliud Kipchoge with a black coach, showing that we can still own this production process.
Even the fastest man in Africa. Or I'm wrong?
Yeah, but let's not talk about that, because these are people we personally know. So,
but it's just an example.
But at least, but I'll give the fastest man in Africa, Omanyala, a break, because we've not mastered the short distances. I'll give him a break because we've not mastered those short distances. But marathons, we are the teachers. We are the teachers. We are the masters. We are the PhDs. We are everything. But then you still see white coaches.
Charity begins at home. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but anyway, again, as we wrap up and we give Kia a chance to go and have a rest. Kia, real quick, what surprised you most about Kenyan culture, both positively and negatively? Kia.
I had a romantic relationship with Kenya for so long until I started living here. And so what shocked me is that, people are quite interesting. And you gotta really watch who you do business with and trust. I was kind of shocked by that. because from the onset, Kenyans, again, as I keep saying, are very hospitable. And so you run with that. You're like, everybody is so nice.
Oh, heck no.
And then you realize, you're like, yeah, no, that's not the truth. So I think that was the most shocking thing. Like, damn, she's not as pretty as I thought she was. She has some ugly to her, too. So that was, like, shocking for me.
So you experienced some character development
as we
Kenyanese.
say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
If you don't know what you're doing, Nairobi specifically will chew you up and spit you out. So that was definitely shocking to me.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, and is the basic structure and which is not.